All right, hello. We are officially live for this season 7 information stream. I probably could have perhaps done this a bit later in the year, but whatever. We'll do it now because I've been kind of preparing for it for this long. But this stream will be entirely about season 7 stuff, all that kind of sign-ups and how the ratings will work and everything. There'll be a bit to it in this stream, and hopefully I could cover as many bases as I possibly can. And if you're watching this in post, then closer to sign-up time, then hopefully I remember to put in some chapters, and that will make things a bit easier, so you can go back and find whatever you want. It says there are no views, no chat, no one in the chat. One person's viewing, so that's all right. So we'll get this thing underway then, I think. And as I said, hopefully I remember to chapter this in post, so that when you come back to sign up later, when sign-ups come around later in the year, then this will be helpful. All right. We're going to start just with some general stuff. We have a new Discord. The link is in the description for anyone that isn't actually already in it. Quite a few people are already in it, which I appreciate. I think we have like 35-ish people. So a big thank you to everyone that has joined. We've got plenty of the team owners, plenty of the drivers, but we've also got quite a few free agents, quote unquote, which is pretty cool. People that want to join, preferably as soon as possible. So that's exciting. But if you haven't joined the Discord, the link is in the description. And I'd like to start this 7th season in early to mid-July, but it's more likely going to be August, perhaps later. We'll see what happens. I've got work starting up in about a few weeks from now, so we'll see how that kind of affects everything. Hopefully we get it started sooner rather than later. And then season 7 once again comprised of a 30 race schedule. You'll see that later on. That'll be later on in this stream. To participate in season 7, you must complete the relevant sign-up form, as in if you're a team owner or a driver, there will be a sign-up form that you must fill out, even if you did compete in season 6. This year, for those who don't have the context in terms of what season 6 was originally about, it was originally a mock to start off with. So there are quite a few drivers and perhaps some teams that would have no idea that they're even in the series. And it was kind of a mock continuation of what season 5, the AKG Cup Series season 5, what that ended up being. And, continue that on as a mock. And then it's kind of just turned into its own thing again. As the year has gone on, and people have started to add ratings and stuff, so it's changed a bit from what it originally has. So quite a few of these people that are in the series, may not know they're in the series. They didn't sign up for anything. I just put them in. Next season, you will have to sign up. I can guarantee you that. That will end up being the case. Drivers from season 6 and team owners will be able to sign up directly after the final race of the season at Homestead, a week before new drivers and team owners. This is just so that I can make sure that all the team owners and all the drivers that raced last season, they get first access. It's not anything against anyone trying to join the series. It's just that I want to make sure that anyone that does want to return doesn't get shafted by. If I were to open the floodgates all at once, there's a chance that people, may be working or doing other things. They can't be there to sign up. So the week gives them a lot of time to sign up and everything, and to return. So and then the field will be maximum 50 cars, and we'll be once again using the next gen mod, because I really like the next gen mod, and the manufacturers, everything will be the same as this season. So 5 manufacturers, same templates, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty much it. Well, for the record, we have 46 cars at the moment. So hoping to expand, but I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Alrighty. Team owner rules and info. again, I hope I've chaptered this in post. Because it'd be pretty important. All right, team owner rules and info. As mentioned earlier, must complete a sign-up form to return to Season 7. Returning Season 6 owners can sign up directly after the finale. Yep, I've kind of said all that. And then, once a week passes, a sign-up form opens to the public. Anyone can sign up after a week. Also, I don't have specific dates, unfortunately, as of yet, but it'll probably happen in May, early May, potentially. New owners can sign up after that kind of week, and I'll let people know. And this will all happen in the Discord. Okay, this is not going to happen on YouTube. This is all going to happen in the Discord, the Gratton Cup Series Discord, not the Yacht Club, not the AG server or the AKG, NFRN, ASCA server. None of those. It's just going to be the Gratton Cup Series Discord. So again, link in the description if you haven't already joined. Any changes? So the number of cars, the manufacturer, the numbers themselves, team name, must be sent through DMs to me, and I'll detail this. I'll give you an example of how the forms will work later on. There will be a section in the form that will have, do you want to make any changes to that? You click yes, I will send DMs, or you can send through DMs. There will be DMs involved with that. So, I will show you in a second. And then team owners can DM drivers as soon as they become a free agent / complete a driver sign-up form, and vice versa. So this is a two-way street. Drivers can DM owners can DM drivers as soon as they become available. There will be a roster, which I will show later on. I'll show the roster. That'll be available for all of you to see, and you could figure out who's available, who can I sign up now. Great, I'll message them, all that kind of stuff. Which teams are already available, they'll have the Discord usernames and everything, all that kind of stuff. So that'll all be available again in the Discord server, link in the description if you haven't already joined. Owner drivers. So owner drivers are a bit loose this year, where we have two of them, Tyson Gifford and Richard Fritsch, who are running full time. In the previous seasons, I think, Nathan Stapleton did it in season 5 as an owner driver as well. So it was a bit loose. And then in seasons 4 and earlier, there are a lot more restrictions around it. We're going back to the kind of season 4 and before that, all that kind of stuff, in which owner drivers can attempt 12 races. And I emphasize attempted, because if you miss races, those will count towards those 12 races. So you can attempt 12 races. That's the absolute maximum that you can attempt as an owner driver. And you can only race for the OEM their team is. So, Chevy team owner can only race for a Chevy team. Ford team owner can only race for a Ford team. You cannot be a Ford team owner and then race for a Dodge team. I'm not going to allow that. So I feel like that's relatively self-explanatory. Prospective owner drivers will be able to complete a driver sign-up form after they complete the team owner form. Team owner form will come first. So if you want to be an owner driver, do the owner form first. And that's probably the thing I like to say there. Don't do a driver form first and then a team owner. That just kind of makes things a little bit messy. And again, I'll show you how to do the forms in a second. All right. Here we go. This is what I'm most excited about. The team ratings. So it starts off default, all categories of 50-70. So if you don't know the ratings particularly well, the numbers here, 50-70. So the 50 is the minimum. The minimum that whatever category it is, let's say chassis, for example, the minimum chassis number in this case is 50. The highest, the maximum is the 70. The 70 is the maximum in this case. So it varies. It's RNG, anywhere between 50 and 70. You got that 20-point range. So for those who don't know, that's how the minimum maximum works. And depending on where you finish in the team standings, that's how you get your rating points. I suppose I should provide a little bit of context as well for those who don't know. Every season, including the start of this season, I did ratings based on how they performed previously. That I would hand them out kind of arbitrarily, to be completely truthful. So like teams that you see at the top at the moment, like the NS Racings, the Giffords, the Nicotechs of the world, they kind of all started off on the same foot right at the very top, but then it slowly trickled down. The newer teams started off worse. This kind of, I think, from my testing, I've done a lot of testing, this evens the playing field quite a bit. Like quite a bit. So, I mean, in the end, like if let's say Gifford, who's currently on top of the team standings, they get 30 total points to use. That doesn't mean that they're just going to come out and obliterate everyone. There's going to be, like they have this year, there will be, like if they play their cards absolutely right, they're still going to be the best team, but in theory, the newer teams, if they do the absolute best ratings, then they won't be as far off as say the bottom teams are this year, because the bottom teams are a long way off, like vehicle wise and pit crew wise and everything. They're a long way off. And so this hopefully balances everything together. So let's say if you finish top of the team's championship, you get 30 total points to use. You get 12 max per category. I've done that just because it's 40% of 30 is 12. So it's a kind of 40% rule I've done with this. So 12 max per category. If you go over that, so if let's say in this case you go 13 points accidentally or 15 or whatever, I will message you and we'll get that fixed. Because you can only use 12 maximum per category. Second gets 29 with 12 max. Third gets 28 with 11 max. Again, 40% rule, etc., etc. All the way down to a new team. And a new team gets the worst to start off with, 15 points and a maximum of 6 that they can use on any category. The 7 categories are aero, chassis, engine reliability, consistency, speed, and strategy. And you could put your points however you want in that way. And every 5 races, there'll be an upgrade form. So if you've done the ratings form, 10 teams have done the rating forms this year, the R&D form, so a big thank you to those 10 teams. It'll be the same thing. So 7 points to use, you get 3 maximum per category. Again, 40% rule. And so that's how the team ratings will work. Now quickly, I think now we've got some form examples. All right, so this is where things might get a little bit messy. All right. Here we go. So the first one here, so we've got two different ones here. We've got the returning team and we've got a new team. This is going to be different for both of you. So if you're a returning owner, this is what you're going to see. So, welcome to Gratton Cup Series returning owner site form. Completing this form will guarantee the returning team for season 7. Once completed, you can message any free agent driver to see if they would like to join your team. The roster free agency list can be found here. So this is what I was talking about. We'll run through this a bit more later on. There are 2 sections that must be completed. For the first section, all you need is your name, Discord username, and then you must select the team that you ran in Season 6. And then the second section is where you're going to put in your ratings. So, here's an example. Alright, so Stuart Gratton. Stuart J. Gratton. And then, let's just say, in theory, I ran Gratton Autosport. So here's the list that you're going to click, and these are all the teams except for Gratton Autosport. That's just there for the purpose of this stream. And you click any one of these. It's in alphabetical order, and that will take you through to the next section and everything later on. So let's choose Gratton Autosport. And this is what I was talking about before, which is make any changes to any of the following: team name, car numbers, manufacturer, number of cars on the team. Click yes. I will message you, or you can message me. You can beat me to the punch. Would you like to be an owner-driver? Again, 12 races attempted, and that's something that we can work out in terms of the schedule. Let's say yes. And please list any sponsors you would like to use. Please note, I have the right to deny any sponsor if it's already being used or inappropriate. I am the judge, jury, executioner when it comes to sponsors for this. I'm going to be a lot stricter than I was for the Samsung League 3 years ago. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's inappropriate, like a sponsor that you want. It might already be taken, and there's not much, really that can be done about that. Some sponsors I can double up. I know JBL sponsored two different teams this year. So it depends, but again, it comes down to me. But you don't have to answer this as a returning team owner because you already picked the sponsors otherwise. So you don't have to answer that. Move on to the next. On the schedule, by the way, 3 road courses, super speedway, 7 short tracks, 17 speedways. We'll take a look at the schedule later on. As Gratton Autosport finished 10th in the teams championship, that's just an example. Obviously, they're just for the purpose of the stream. You have 21 points that you can allocate because that's what you get for finishing 10th. And you can use up to 8 points per category. When you're returning, if you're a returning team owner, please, or a new team owner for that matter, please look at this and this. Because these are the two most important things in this section, like the 2 most important numbers. And then you've got the categories, as I talked about before. Default for the 7 categories, 50-70, as I've talked about. There'll be 5 extra rating forms to complete throughout the season after races 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. And then 7 points total per those forms and a maximum of 3 per category, but you will get those later on in the year. This is where I think people are going to trip up. I think people will accidentally underdo it or accidentally put in too many points or something along those lines. So again, I will message you in this regard. Luckily, we won't have this issue with the drivers, and I'll explain that later. So you've got each of the categories here, and you put in however many points you want to do. So I've got 21 points. Let's say I want to do 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. That gets me to 21, right? That gets me to 21. 3 times 7 is 21. Let's say I have 20 points, for example. You'd have to change one of these to 2. So let's say reliability, you change to 2, right? And that's basically, you're going to have to do the maths in your head, or if you get a calculator or whatever. And I mean, look, you could do up to 8 points, right, for something. If you do 9, I'm going to message you about it, right? If you go over this number, I'm going to message you about it. If you have in totality, more than this number, I'm going to message you about it. And then, so then you click submit. That's done. It's been recorded. And then I've got to find the right one. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. As you can see, this is what I see on the back end. And there's all the answers and everything. Right? So that's how it will look for me. I will do all that, calculate everything, all that kind of stuff, and then if anything goes wrong, I will message you. And then once that's all sorted, I will chuck you in back here. As you can see, I've already got my numbers and example. Just for example, you've got the numbers, driver Discord, team owner's Discord, manufacturer, all that kind of stuff. So that's if you're a returning team owner. If you raced in season 6 as a team owner, that's your team. That's how you do it. New teams. It's pretty much the same thing for the most part. There are some differences. So again, same kind of thing. Yada yada yada. 2 sections: name, realistic, Discord username, all the team's info, including its name, amount of cars, manufacturer, number of cars, and the sponsors you want. With a new team, again, you can put in. You will have to put in sponsors you want, if you so wish. And I can deny those. I can accept those. It depends on other sponsors and if they're already being used, for example, right? Like a Powerade, for example. If it's already being used by one team, I'm not going to use it for a second team, for example. Okay, same kind of thing. So start off with your name, username, and then your team name. And then you get to here, let's say example, 2 cars. I've already done this, so I'm going to use the 2 cars here. That's not what I wanted. Ford, so you got the Chevy Camaro, Dodge, you got the Ford, the Honda, Toyota, same cars as this year. Please list 5 to 10 numbers you would like your team to use in order from highest priority to lowest priority. So, I mean, I think it's relatively self-explanatory. So let's say 35, 22, 18, 41, 51, 32, for example. Those numbers, as you can see, like 32, 51, 18 currently taken. So you wouldn't be able to use any of those, but it doesn't matter because the 35, 22 are the highest priority anyway. Let's say these were taken. The next one would be 41. That'd be the next priority. etc. And then, worst comes to worst, all those are taken, I'll message you again. Would you like to be an owner driver? Yes. Let's just say, for example. And then please list any sponsors you want. You can list however many you want. I'm just going to chuck Samsung here just for the purpose of it. Next. And then as a new team, you get 15 total points. So again, this is the important important bit 1, important bit 2. So you can have 15 total points to allocate, and 6 points per category. Again, 40% rule. Same categories. Again, basically the same thing as I said before. 50, 70, minimum, maximum. Races 5, 10, 15, 20. There'll be a form for you to fill out to upgrade, and there'll be 7 points per form with a max of 3 per category. And again, same kind of thing, right? It's the exact same. Aero, chassis, engine, reliability, consistency, speed, strategy. You put in however many points you want. Let's say 3, 3, 3. That gets me to 9. 0. And then 3, 3, 3. Right? That's just an example. That gets you to... Well, actually, that's probably... you put in too much for that, actually. So... let's say 0 for strategy. So then that's 9, and that's another 6. That makes it 15, right? If you go over, let's say you do 7 points for a certain category, and you submit that, I will message you saying, hey, you've gone over. I'm going to have to take that point away from you, all that kind of stuff. Do you want to put that point elsewhere? All that kind of stuff. And then, that's done. Submit. And again, same kind of thing as we saw before. This is what I will see on the back end. You get all the, you get the name, everything, how many cars you like to run, all that kind of stuff. And so I'll see that on the back end, and then I'll message you accordingly if required. So those are the 2 team owner forms. And when the time comes in May, I would like you to come back to this bit if you have any questions, if you're confused at all. Come back to this, so then hopefully this helps you out a little bit. All right, let's continue on. Let's move on to the drivers. The driver rules and info. As mentioned earlier, you must complete a sign-up form to return to Season 7. Returning Season 6 drivers can sign up directly after the finale, yada, yada, yada. Same thing. If you're a returning driver, you get that week to kind of sign up and get yourself back into it, so a little bit of advantage there. After a week passes, the sign-up form becomes open to the public, and new drivers who haven't raced in Season 6, they could sign up. And then once you sign up, you become a free agent, and you go on that roster that I showed before, which I'll look at again in a second. Drivers can DM team owners as soon as they become a free agent, and vice versa. Again, same thing that I talked about before. Two-way street. Team owners can DM drivers as soon as they're on the roster, and then vice versa, drivers can DM team owners. Completing the sign-up form makes you a free agent until you agree on a deal with a team owner with proof sent to me, which is like a screenshot or what have you. If you want to go through me, you could go through me, right? If you want to say, I don't want to DM them directly, but can you message so-and-so, I want to be on their team, that kind of thing, right? I could do that. It's not my preferred action, but I could do that. That would count as proof, obviously. But yeah, there is no guarantee you'll get a ride for Season 7. Just because you sign up, there is no guarantee you'll get a ride for Season 7. There is no requirement for a team owner to sign you, like if they don't feel like they want you on the team, right? So I think most team owners would be accommodating, for people to join their team, but they may not want you, and if there's all the spots are taken, then there's not much we can really do. So let's say there's 50 cars and all those 50 cars are filled, then you unfortunately can't get in. There's no first come, first serve that you typically see in other series. It's all about communicating with the team owners and making a deal with yourself. Swapping ratings are banned for Season 7. One thing that I've done throughout the year is that drivers have been able to swap their ratings after every 5 races. So let's say someone wants to swap speedway and finishing, for example, because they're in, let's say, Tier A, Tier B. They want to swap those around. I'll let them do it. That will not be the case next year. I will not allow that to happen. Now, I was a big fan of the team owner ratings. I'm not as big of a fan in terms of the driver ratings, but this is how it's going to work. You've got 6 tiers this year. So tier A, B, 2 tier C, 2 tier D, E and F. With tier F being 25-45. This is something that I've kind of workshop. Again, I like what I've seen so far. But, it's not something I like as much as the team owner ratings. But, you put that in, you get the sign-up form. We'll run through the sign-up form in a second. You will do that. You'll go bang, 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 bang. I want this in this tier, etc., etc. And that will go with you. That will carry with you for the rest of the season. Right? That'll carry with you for the rest of the season. Every 5 races, there'll be an upgrade form. 12 points to use, 5 max per category. So there is a chance, right? Whatever you put in tier A and tier B, if you just put 5 points into that category every single form that's possible, you will max out that rating. The maximum you can do is 80, 100. And I will, once you're within 5, I will DM you, let you know, hey, you're within 5, or you can only do so and so for the next form. So 5 max per category, 12 points to use in total, and it will carry on throughout the whole season. And the 8 driver categories are aggression, consistency, finishing, qualifying, road course, short track, speedway, and super speedway. Another thing that I don't know if people actually know. This year, for rookie drivers, they have had a varying minimum maximum range. So drivers, day one go into the series have a 40 speedway range. So their speedway range, for example, is 20-60 instead of the normal 40-60 that a veteran may have. Short track has a 35 range, so 25-60. Road courses, 30-60. For example, 30-point range. Super speedway is equal. Because it's typically an equal race, so everyone will start with the same range on that anyway. But that I've found that has worked really well this year, in terms of the way it's worked. Because you have like a Max Davis won 2 weeks ago at Chicagoland, so it's not impossible for a rookie to win. But it does, they have to get up to speed a little bit let's just say that. So that's what's been happening this year. It hasn't made that much of a difference, but it has made a little difference, I would say. And then by race 25, everyone will have the same minimum maximum ranges. Everyone will get back to the 20 minimum maximum range for the races, for the different track types. And you can see them all on the screen there. All right, driver form example. Every driver, whether you're returning or a new driver, you will get the same form. It's not like the team owners where there's 2 different forms for the if you're new or old, you're going to get different form. You're going to get the same form here for drivers. That's what I'm trying to say. Welcome to the Gratton Cup Series sign form. You're completing this form will allow you to become a free agent. Again, roster there. And once you sign up, this is where you end up on the form. And then as a team owner, I see Stuart Gratton is available. Perfect. I'm going to agree to sign with him. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. Right? And once that's agreed upon... Oh, great. Thank you. I put that there and you're in. Right? And once that's agreed upon, that's how that works. So once you complete the form, you will end up in this section here, the free agent section. Once completed, you can message any team owner on the aforementioned roster for a potential drive for the season, or they can DM you, whatever. There are 2 sections that must be completed. For the first section, all you need to do is your name and Discord username. Second section will input your default ratings for the season. Once submitted, these cannot be changed. Mostly because there is... there is no way you can muck this up this year. In terms of... last season, for example, we had checkboxes where you could select more than 2 for a tier if that's what happens. You can accidentally put 3 tiers, 3 checkboxes. So speedway, finishing, qualifying, for example, you could accidentally do 3 instead of 2, and that gets a bit messy. Here, you can't do that. And I'll show you again, this is just an example. So Stuart J. Gratton, bang. I have to click next, unfortunately. And then these are the driver ratings. This is where you allocate the ratings, and this will carry with you throughout the whole season. And as I said, we'll take a look at the schedule in a second. So 3 road courses, super speedways, 7 short tracks, 17 speedways. There will be 5 extra rating forms for you to complete. Same thing as the team owners. After races 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, you'll get, as I said, 12 total points per form with a maximum of 5 points per category. So what you'll see with those ones will be similar to what you see from the team owners. They won't look like what you're about to see here. This is the table. Unfortunately, Google Docs, it's not wide enough to actually fit everything in, which is really annoying. But this is how everything looks. And you've got all the tiers, the minimum maximums on the side. You've also got them up here in case you want to see them again. And yeah, you just put them in however you want. So just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go diagonal. So bang, 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 bang. There you go. And that's all well and good. But if you make a mistake, so let's say, for example, you've got aggression in tier A and then you accidentally put aggression there. Please don't select more than one response per column. It's probably the most important thing. If you see that, it just means that you've accidentally doubled up on one of the categories. And so, as a result, you're going to have to change it back to to this one, for example, to make it work. So there's no way to if you see that at the bottom, you're just going to have to look through and see where you've made the mistake and then address it, fix it up. And then, of course, once you're done, submit that. And of course, that will come through on my end. There you go. And this is what I will see. And that's all, all well and good. And then, of course, as I said, you get put on the free agency board, and that is fine. That is perfect. You're all well and good there. All right. Cool. So that's the driver's example. Again, I recommend coming back to this stream when the time comes, when times come around, if you have any concerns, questions, all that kind of stuff. All right. Schedule and points format. A bit of work has been done on this. Not so much the points per se, but certainly the schedule's had a bit of work. So we've got 4 changes to the schedule track wise. So Phoenix, Daytona Night, and Iowa all return. They've been used in previous seasons, but they weren't used this season and will not be used. They return. Darlington, Kansas, Las Vegas will have 1 race instead of 2. And Auto Club will be replaced by Willow Springs, which I'm looking forward to. It's going to be very, very interesting to say the least. So there's 4 less speedways this season, season 7 I should say, compared to season 6. We are in a stretch. I actually don't know the specific numbers, but I think every race from Talladega, outside of, I think race 13 I should say, to about race 23, so it's about 10-11 race stretch where it's literally just speedway. That's, it was poor planning on my behalf, and so we'll live with it, we'll deal with it, but we're not doing that again. So we've added another road course, we've added another super speedway race, and we've recorded a couple of short tracks. And I mean, you look at these, sorry Chavez, so had to be done, unfortunately. But you see Phoenix, for example, and Rockingham, you may think, they're not really short tracks. Well, in the game, they actually recognise the short tracks. So they're going to be short tracks. So yeah. That's the schedule. Actually, I should acknowledge, we've got chase races. Yes, we are going to bring back the chase. For the record, we'll talk about that in a second. And these yellow ratings, again, this is what I was talking about with the rookies. You have that extra, you've got that larger range to start with. That will slowly whittle away after those races. I'll add 5 to your minimum, and you'll get to whatever track type it is, and then you'll go from there. And so yeah. It's just, don't worry. If you're not performing well as a rookie, don't worry too much about it. All right, points format. No changes to the actual points themselves, but we're bringing back the chase. And the chase, for the first time, this is an interesting thing that I didn't realize until I actually did this. Every chase / playoffs we've ever done has been 16 drivers. I've never done 12, which I find weird. But anyways, we're going to do 12 now. We're gonna do 12 now. So, first through 12th, these are the points if you finish top of the regular season. So let's say Dawson Miller, for example, if this was this year, Dawson Miller would start the chase with 2070 points. The second place driver, which would be Henry War, would start with 2055, and then third on down is 5-point difference, all the way down to 12th, which is Max Davis, who would start on 2,000 points. You don't get any points for bonus, like for winning races. You don't get any points for for that. And it's a 10-race chase. So races 21 to 30. Owner points, top 35. This is pretty late, so I probably haven't phrased this maybe the way I would have wanted. The top 35 returning teams in the Season 6 owners points will be locked in for the first 5 races. In that, how do I describe it? So I think that there will be 5 teams. Right now, it looks like 5 teams are not going to return to the series. And if that's the case, then we start off with 32-ish cars to start off the season. So if there are only 32 cars, then there'll be the top 32 in that regard. But the top 35 returning teams and owner points, if there's more teams that return, then they will be locked in for the first 5 races. New teams must race their way in for the first 5 races, guaranteed, regardless of how many return. Unless we have less than 42. Unless we have 42 or less cars that are actually signed up for Daytona, which could be a possibility, but hopefully not. And so, yeah, I hope that makes a bit more sense. And then the remaining Season 6 schedule, a lot of this is to be determined. I have to be kind of flexible with things at the moment. So you've got the race next time at Las Vegas is going to be Thursday night, same kind of time, 8 p.m.-ish. And then every kind of race from there is to be determined, really, and everything's to be determined. So Auto Club will not be the Thursday because I'm away at that time, so that might be the Wednesday, that might be the Friday, I don't know. The R&D form will come out after that, and that will set you up for the last 7 races. It won't have any effect on Indianapolis, but it will have an effect on the rest of the season. Indianapolis will be the 26th of March. I've said that. Yep. Actually, that one probably is to be determined as well. I have said 26th of March, but that's probably to be determined as well. Sirius XM 400 at Richmond to be determined. Final driver rating changes. I'll message you about that. Nobody changed their ratings after this most recent week. So there you go. GoBowling.com 355 at the Glen. The driver rating changes will come into Darlington, come into effect at Darlington, and then Darlington, Kansas, North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, and then the finale at Homestead. After that is when signups will go live for returning drivers, returning team owners, and then they'll have that week to kind of get their act together, sign up, and then they could start obviously communicating with team owners or whatever. And then New Smyrna Showdown is a non-points event. I've added this in literally just right now, just so we have a little bit of something to get going. And then, after the finale, that would be race winners and pole sitters from the season. And then sign-up forms open to everyone. So, yeah. That is it in terms of the stream. We got to 15 views apparently, which I will take, although we got no one watching at the moment. So that's it in terms of the stream. I will go back and edit all this together and put chapters together and everything. Is there anyone that's actually said anything in the server? Doesn't look like it, so that's all well and good. And so that's it from me. I am officially done. But thank you to everyone who tuned in. And again, as I said, when the sign-ups come around, please go back to this video, this stream, and I will chapter them so that you can find the section you want, whether you're a team owner or a driver or whatever. Hopefully that will help you out a bit. But that's it from me. Thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll see everybody next time out at Las Vegas for the next race.